You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Thursday. I'm Brock.
I'm Dalby.
Yes, he's back.
I did it. I overcame sickness.
Thank God, man. I was just sitting in here talking by myself. I felt like I was going crazy.
Dude, same. Sitting at home, just like, I read too much news over the last, 48 hours. Because, when you're home sick, especially now, I don't have cable. There's no Jerry Springer to keep you occupied anymore.
There's only so much red tube you can watch.
Exactly, right? I don't have the stores I usually do because I'm so tired and sick. So you just start doom scrolling on social media. I found out that Regina in Saskatchewan, our old stomping grounds, is getting a second Costco. And I ask you this question. Does double Costco in one city make you a major Canadian metropolitan?
I don't think
center?
Regina's big enough to have two Costcos. That doesn't make sense.
It felt a little bit weird, but I mean, if you think of the hierarchy of as your town grows.
You're not a town if you have a Costco, by the way.
Oh, sorry, you're right.
Can we agree on that?
100%.
If you have a Costco, you're a city.
You are a full-blown city.
Yeah.
You cannot pretend to be otherwise. But as your area grows, you will start to get new things. Costco, you're right, I think makes you a city. I think double Costco, now we're on the talk of an Edmonton or a Vancouver.
You're a metropolitan area.
You are a major city in this country, which feels weird to say about Regina, Saskatchewan.
I feel like if you want to talk about the buildings of a small town, it's you get your Tim Hortons first.
That's the first big one,
right?
100%.
Then you get a Subway.
Oh.
And then you get a McDonald's.
The
'Cause I
Subway
feel like
does come in first.
McDonald's always comes in last in towns.
Yeah. And then once McDonald's is there, it just kind of opens the gates. You can get excited, but you're not going to get as excited for the A&W or the KFC as you did the McDonald's because that was your first.
You know what's a big thing in smaller communities? Mark's Work Warehouse for some reason.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I guess it's just the apparel or whatever, but every small town seems to have a Mark's Work Warehouse.
Right, because if they're too small, there's still going to be a place in your small town that will sell workplace apparel. But when you get that seal of approval, you see that stall in the mall open up as a Mark's Work Warehouse, you kind of look around the old stomping grounds and go, well, we're getting pretty big, eh?
Now, I know some people are going to listen to this and be like, not my small town, but if you want to talk about legit small towns, you're in a small town if you don't have a real LCBO. If the only LCBO you can go to is in half of a convenience store or a gas station, if you can get a Snickers and a bag of all dressed in some worms at the same time that you're getting a six-pack, you're in a small town.
Gummy or real for the worms?
Oh, both, actually.
You know what's crazy, though, is you're right. That's a very key sign of you haven't quite made it out of small town status yet. But isn't that better? To be able to do the LCBO and gas and snacks all at the same time?
And you can get meth from usually behind the same gas station, too.
We're just putting everything in one place. Small town's got it figured out.
One-stop shop, baby.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Oh my God, dude. I woke up Tuesday, and the worst part is usually when you have a sick day, you get a lot of rest. You sleep in, you do all that stuff. I was still up at 3:30 in the morning on Tuesday, just hogging the toilet.
I know. I saw your message and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, it's just not fun.
Just, as much as it might have sucked to wake up and start puking, to wake up and find out someone is puking is just as gross, by the way.
That's fair.
Sucks.
That is entirely fair. Although the worst is the combination of two where you're in the same room with the person. When your significant other starts getting ill.
I can't hold your hair, though. You don't got a ponytail that I can hold, though, brother.
Can you hold back my beard?
Oh.
Part my mustache?
Oh, that's disgusting. Nonetheless, though.
Welcome back.
Thank you. How was it the last 2 days holding down? Did you Dirty 530 take care of you?
It was all right.
That's good.
We made it. We're here. Yeah.
I get that vibe.
Yeah.
I think what it is I've got to finally realize that I'm getting older. The body starts to turn on you a little bit. I gotta stop eating at gas stations.
What'd you get?
Problem. I hit a gas station on my travels, and I got what would they call it? It was just a Hungry Man sub.
Were they the pre-made ones?
So it wasn't like a High Guard or any of those ones that come in like the sealed crimped packages. It was one of those ones, when you go to the gas station and it's
they make them there,
saran wrapped.
Okay.
And I do remember because I ate 2 or 3 times along the drive. I do remember one particular.
Wait, did you exclusively eat at gas stations on the way home?
And on the way there. It's the easiest when you're taking a road trip. Gas stations are the most convenient place to eat because you have to stop there anyway.
I don't mean to be rude. Sympathy goes out the window if you ate 3 gas station meals on the way home.
Well, I mean, one of them was like, what are those, the crackers, cheese, Lunchables. Like,
okay.
It wasn't all gas station subs.
Okay.
There was a few of them, but...
You did this to yourself.
You don't do that. Are you telling me you take a long road trip, you're going to go to the gas station, then you're going to go somewhere else for food?
I only trust those High Guard ones because remember last year I went snowboarding in Quebec and I got that sandwich and it did me in. That screwed me over.
That's right.
I don't know. Gas station food is questionable. I mean, hot dogs I'll do.
On the rollers?
But they got to look fresh.
That's the thing.
You can tell, right? If they look like an old man's wrinkled finger, you can't do it, man. You can't do it. I'll even ask. I'll be like, how long are these there for? And they're going to lie, right?
Well, yeah. You got to take whatever they say and add like 6 hours.
It's like someone's body count. Like, I feel like it's either times 3 or divided by 3. What's the American Pie reference?
Depending on which way they're trying to impress you.
Gas station food is risky.
It is, yeah. Especially anything, like you said, that doesn't come in like sealed packaging. Anything that's made by someone who's not necessarily taken their food safe course.
The sushi is always crazy to me. I see that at Circle K all the time. I see people grab it. Like,
that, I will say, that's a line for me. You can get me at like the grocery store, like the Metro, when they have a little bit of sushi out there. Maybe on a tough day, maybe. Gas station sushi, I draw the line at. Though I did used to be a frequent purchaser back in Saskatchewan of gas station chicken salad sandwiches.
Oh, that's riskier, man. Chicken is just dangerous in general, man. Like,
it's true. There's just so many things that can go wrong. So when you road trip, gas station and food are 2 separate things?
The only reason I'll get food from a gas station is if there's a Subway inside of it.
Oh.
Or like some of them have pizzas or whatever.
The odd
right?
A&W mixed into an SO.
I get a bag of chips, whatever, sometimes some jerky, whatever. Like,
okay.
But, you can't risk it for the biscuit, man. Like, your body must hate you right now.
Oh, especially now my ribs are so sore from like going through it the last couple days.
Yeah.
But we're here, and that's what's important. And I think this opens up an interesting discussion. So I want to put it out to the Dirty 530-762-555. What are your road trip rules? Like, apparently, for me, it's try to make as few stops as possible. Let's get everything at the gas station. For you, it's let's not eat at the gas station.
As a guy who has had accidents in the car too many times, fool me once.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
There are a surprising number of rules people have texted in relating to food, as we talked about road trip rules that apply to you whenever you're going anywhere. After I made the mistake of eating too many gas station sandwiches on my last road trip and having to take 2 days off of work. A lot of people are saying that they will pack an entire cooler full of snacks before going anywhere over, like, I think this person said anywhere over 3 hours on a road trip.
I get doing that, but then I just eat too fast.
That's my thing,
If I know
too.
it's already in the car, then I just munch hard.
It's like when I will bring like 2 bottles of water thinking like, oh, this will get me to like at least the first gas up in like 4 or 5 hours or whatever. And then it's like an hour later and now I have to pee and I have no water left.
Yeah.
It's like I haven't figured out how to ration the things that I have other than by distance of purchase.
I do respect Justice, who texted in and who said one of the big rules is you cannot eat Taco Bell while on a road trip. And as much as I like to think outside the bun, you
Right.
don't need your buns thinking outside.
Well,
Like,
that's just it, right? It's like, if you do that, unless you've got that iron stomach of a mid-20s person who eats Taco Bell all the time, you're either going to stink up the car or you're going to force extra stops.
Yeah.
Which that we're seeing a lot of, too. I saw this one here. It says, he with the biggest bladder decides when to stop. Someone texted in.
I'll say this. I think anytime that you stop, go to the bathroom.
I think that
even
just
if you
makes
don't
sense.
think you have to go,
Right.
just try and squirt one out.
It's the same thing I do with my kids when they're like, oh, we don't have to go when we're like in the house before. It's like, just go try, and then everyone's going to feel better.
Yeah.
And you're more than likely going to get something else.
I think the biggest rule that gets texted in is always, and it should be the same in every single person's car, that whoever is driving, they get to pick the tunes.
100%. Absolutely. And if you're in the passenger seat, it is your job to facilitate those tunes so that the driver can focus on the road. The driver, you are basically the DJ for the driver. They are giving you all the requests.
You're also the eyes and ears, too, because like, you got to be looking out for cops and whatnot. And then I'll say this, if you're in the back seat, you're the snack guy.
That's right. You've brought this up before, that the back seat is like presenting dinner options to the front.
Well, I don't know. You're a dad. I feel like growing up, every time we went on a road trip, my dad would just toss his hand back, and then we would just fill his mid up of whatever we were munching on, and that was
Right.
kind of that was the tax.
See, I don't know. Maybe like, how old were you when you were doing that? Because maybe I've been slacking on my kids. My oldest is 10.
I don't know. As like all growing up, that was
Yeah.
like every single road trip. If we were in the back seat and my old man was in the front, he always just tossed his hand back.
I feel like it's the other way because I got nobody in the passenger seat with me generally. It's just the two kids in the back. So I keep the snacks there. And then I almost feel like I'm feeding the wildlife. I put my hand back full of snacks and let them pick at it for a while.
That's more dangerous.
That is, you're right. Like
Yeah.
now I'm thinking like I should be putting the chips and stuff in the back seat and making them, hey, Dad's hungry, feed me.
Road trip rookie mistake right there, brother.
That's how you can tell that I grew up without siblings. It was just an only child back then. I don't have any of those experiences of what it's like to be like the backseat team.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, as a sibling, as the younger one, you're told to shut up. That's your rule.
That's your role.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Know your role, right?
We got one other one in here, and this is for, I imagine, like road trips that take multiple days, which I know you used to do a lot of these. It says, never trust a hotel with an empty parking lot. What are your thoughts on that?
That's valid.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, like, if you pull up to a place and it looks like the kind of place that you get murdered at in the movie,
Right,
then
yeah.
it's probably that kind of
If it
place.
looks like the kind of place where you could pull the curtain back and someone's going to be brandishing a knife.
I know there's one hotel in town here, but I won't say it. But like anyone that you pull up to and it says newly renovated, and you pull up and you're like, when was the renovations?
Right.
The War of
Oh.
1812? Like,
Like under new management, you
Yeah.
can see like tiling falling off.
if you pull up to a place and they're still advertising that they have color TV,
That's true.
Yeah.
Color TV or satellite is the other one that you still see. And it's like, no, maybe we keep driving for a little bit longer.
is cable a big deal around here?
It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Not in 2024.
That's how you wind up in a Hills Have Eyes scenario.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
There's a rodeo that went down in Utah recently.
Hell yeah.
It's called Utah Days of 47 Rodeo.
Okay.
Apparently, it's a big deal. But it's kind of going viral right now because for two of the kids' events, for the boys and the girls, the list of like winners in their names
Oh.
came out, and they are the most like America things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Amazing. Because, yeah, I mean, there's nothing more American. You can tell me it's baseball at apple pie. There's nothing more American than a good old-fashioned state fair rodeo.
The winner of the boys division, McCoy Sweat.
McCoy Sweat?
Yeah.
The last name is questionable. I love McCoy as a name, though.
His brother Cash Sweat was also in there as well. McCoy and Cash, dude.
The streetlights come on, and Mama Sweat is calling for McCoy and Cash to come on home.
There was about like 5 other kids named Cash as well.
Oh, of course.
But there was a Cash Pullum, which I thought was pretty nice.
Cash Pullum is great.
When
yeah.
that kid was born, there was an eagle that like
landed in the window of the maternity ward.
Bronk Heiner was another kid.
His name is Bronk?
Yes.
Wow. Let a kid know, hey, by the way, you're going to be in the rodeo whether you like it or
That
not.
kid was conceived on a bull. Like, Tibbs Thomas was another one that I loved.
Tibbs is a name that needs to be used more often.
And then finally, the best one in the boys division, in my opinion, Ray Gun Steel.
Ray gun steel?
Now, it's spelled Raygun, so I'm not sure if it's Reagan, but it's Ray gun,
That's
right?
Ray gun.
Yeah.
I don't care what you prefer the pronunciation to be. That kid is going to be called Ray gun till the day he dies.
The girls' division had some great names, too. What was it? Remington Anderson?
Remington. Another gun name.
Swayze Shields?
Swayze Shields sounds like a movie poster.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're trying to tell me who's the star of the film.
Are you ready for this one? This is the best out of all of them.
Okay.
It's the most American name you're ever going to hear. Gunny Freeland.
Why did I just felt like an instinct to salute that name. Gunny Freeland.
You've got guns and basically freedom in the same vein.
That's incredible.
That's America, dude. That kid eats, sleeps, and breathes America.
That kid deserves... I don't know if they get, like, gold medals, but that one deserves to be red, white, and blue.
That kid was born with a dip in its mouth.
That came on. The doctor cut the cord, slapped it on the behind, and it went...
That baby tried to build a wall inside the womb.
Tried to make the doctor pay for it.
Dude, if Raygun Steele and Gunny Freeland get together, that is like that's the greatest power couple of all time.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
What is the most Canadian name that you have ever heard? 762-555. Is it Gord? Is Gord like the most Canadian, like at least first name?
It's definitely got to be up there because of so many hip fans naming their offspring after Gord Downie. I will also say, and this is probably a prairie bias of mine, but I know a lot of Canadian kids named Ryder that grew up in and around Saskatchewan.
That's a prairie thing for sure.
That's the only football team I can think of in North America that people name their kids after en masse.
Someone just texted and said Guy Lafleur has got to be the most Canadian name of all time. You know what?
Just Guy in general.
If I didn't know who Guy Lafleur was,
Yeah.
and you were like, just said that, it sounds like a made-up name, honestly.
Guy Lafleur.
Yeah.
It does sound like...
It sounds like a Canadian cartoon character or something.
It does. It's right up there with Dudley Do-Right.
Saturday morning cartoons watching Guy Lafleur. Even Tim Horton, a few people just texting in, like,
Yeah.
I guarantee you, because they're opening Tim Hortons all across the world now.
Yeah, it's not a Canadian exclusive
There's people
anymore.
that don't realize that is or was a real guy.
Right, yeah. People in, like, Japan who just think Tim Horton is a place you get coffee from and not knowing that, he was a person.
It was a Toronto Maple Leaf,
Yeah.
baby, right? Terry has been texting in quite a bit there.
Terry is a very Canadian name, no doubt about that. Also, I feel like we got a lot of Rockies in this country.
I don't think I've ever met a Rocky in my entire life.
Maybe it is a Western
Are you
thing
thinking
again.
of the cartoon like Rocky and Bullwinkle?
No, I'm thinking about the Rocky Mountains.
Oh.
We get a lot of people in Alberta. There are a lot of Albertan Rockies out there.
I've never met a Rocky before.
So you got to get out west more.
Yeah. I do like the text that we got in from Mike. He said Toonie Looneyman would be the most Canadian name if you could pick it.
That's really good. Also, this person just texted in here, 762-555. I knew a girl named Maple.
Really?
That's got to be the most Canadian name.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's very
Was her last name
widespread.
Dip?
Maple Glaze.
Naming your kid Maple, that's some real Canadian stuff right there.
I've heard of Maples, but never a Maple before. So kudos to that set of parents for being ultra patriotic.
Someone said Steve Smith is the most common Canadian name. You can look that up. So let me see here. I want to look up what are the most common... I'll look up most common Canadian, like, first names at least here.
Because last names, I mean, they come from weird places.
This is from 2018. It says for girls, it's Mary, Linda, Marie, Karen, and Lisa.
Interesting.
Kind of just basic names. For guys, it says John, David, Robert, Michael, and Paul.
Feels like those don't have a lot of Canadiana to
Also,
them.
like, basically almost all of the guy ones are just Bible names. Right? What are we missing? Matthew, Mark, Luke?
Yeah. You know, the Bible.
Which those are actually not too far down the list.
If you go down
looking
there,
at
they
it.
are.
Yeah.
The Bible has always been like that place where, like, oh God, we have a kid. What do we name it? What do we name it? What's a book in the room?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John.
That's it. Those are the most Canadian names of all time. It does say Smith is the most common surname. So
Smith. I mean, that's just in general. I feel like North America. If you had to create a fictional white man, you would give him the last name Smith.
Smith, Brown, Tremblay, Martin, and Waugh. Actually,
Oh, there you go.
The top five.
Couple Franco names that fit in there. It's definitely different from the person who texted in. Said my father-in-law had a buddy named Manly Flowers.
That sounds like a wrestler, doesn't it?
That really does. You're either a pro wrestler or a punk rocker, one or the other.
The Manly Flowers Band? I'd check that out.
But would you hire Manly Flowers and Associates as your legal team?
Dude, a few people are texting and saying they know people named Beaver. That's got to take the cake, actually, as the most Canadian name of all time.
That's definitely up there, yeah. Beaver would be a very patriotic. I mean, that would be like an American whose last name is Eagle.
That's a tough name for a girl, though, because if someone's like, I love Beaver,
That's true.
that gets very confusing real quick.
There's going to be some innuendo that spreads from that one.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Oh, I'd love to be an Oscar Mayer wiener.
Have you seen the accident of the Oscar Wienermobile?
I have it, and my favorite thing has been trying to find headlines of people talking about this. For those that don't know, the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile was involved in a rollover crash on like an interstate down in the States.
Yeah.
And my favorite has been trying to read headlines of people who are like trying to report on it as serious news. But it has the word Wienermobile in the headline.
Yeah.
And it immediately can't be taken seriously.
If you haven't seen the photos yet, text Wiener to 762-555, and we'll send it your way. Dude, I feel so bad for whoever was driving the Wienermobile.
Oh my God.
Because I've even seen on Twitter and stuff, there's videos of people passing them before it flipped.
Oh no.
Yeah,
It's such an iconic thing. Like when you see it, it's like when you see the Google Street View cars. Like you almost get like,
Yeah.
oh my God, it's real. I've heard so much about it. So people pay extra attention to the Wienermobile, all except for apparently the car that was next to it when they struck each other and flipped over on the interstate.
I'll tell you this, they're going to be grilled for their insurance.
Oh, I imagine cleanup for that was no picnic.
The puns that come from this is amazing.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, even just like giant metal wiener rolls over on interstate. Like, you can't report on this seriously.
I mean, usually the skid marks come after the hot dog, not before.
I'll tell you right now, it's not the first time a hot dog has jammed up traffic.
Dude, it's literally the definition of street meat, if you think about it. And I feel so bad. There's like one photo of like the poor kid that's driving it as it's on its side, like coming out of it. Like,
Please put some respect. He's known as a hot dogger.
is that what they're called?
That is the official title of the drivers of the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
Well, it's safe to say that young man took a turn for the worst, you could say.
I don't relish having to have been the bearer of bad news for that guy.
Let me be frank. This is a misfortune that we shouldn't laugh at, but I am curious. Does the 5-second rule apply here still?
That's how long it took them to get it up on the flatbed.
Yeah.
Take it off site.
Yeah.
No word on whether or not the Wienermobile was trying to catch up to another vehicle further in traffic.
Oh, that is a nightmare. And like, I know it's the Wienermobile in itself.
Yeah.
But anyone who's ever drove a company vehicle before,
With the logos and stuff all over
to
it.
mess up like that is the worst advertising of all time.
Again with the worst puns.
I didn't even try and do that one. I swear.
It's the Wienermobile when it crashes, but if it starts to catch fire, does that make it a smoky?
That's the one time that you don't want to be an Oscar Mayer wiener.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Earlier this week, President Joe Biden announced that he is dropping out of the election for this year, announces he's going to be stepping down after his term is done. Mm-hmm. And yesterday, he actually addressed the nation from the Oval Office last night with like a huge 11-minute speech. And I thought it was interesting, some of the stuff he said, including this.
I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation. You know, there is a time and a place for long years of experience in public life. There's also a time and a place for new voices, fresh voices, yes, younger voices. And that time and place is now.
Which I think is something that everybody has been saying for a very long time. Like, I don't mean to be rude, but like, let's get these old ass dudes out of here.
Sure. And I 100% agree, but he is nominating his vice president, Kamala Harris. If Kamala wins the election, when she is sworn in as president, if she is sworn in as president, she'll be 60. She'll be 60 years old. That's the youthful generation he wants to pass things on.
And I'm not trying to say that being 60 is old or anything like that,
No,
but like,
but-
how old is Trump right now?
I think he was the youngest out of the two at 79, I believe.
My grandpa just died this year at 81.
Which I believe is what Joe Biden is.
You know what I
81.
mean? Like, I feel like to be a presidential candidate, they should do like an NFL combine or something for these guys to make sure they're cognitive or something.
Do a little physical and mental testing?
Yes, honestly. Have them do memory tests, even just have them climb stairs just to see. Like,
yeah, I'm not saying we don't need to necessarily know how fast the president's 40 is.
Sure.
Although I would be interested.
That would be pretty awesome. Make him do a 40-yard dash, a bench press.
But what's the thing that they make football players do in the NCAA? The Wonderlic test, which is like this big aptitude test to see, like, okay, hey, you got muscles and you're fast and you can catch a ball, but are you a dummy?
Yeah.
Are we seriously putting a higher standard on potential football players than we are potential presidents?
I'll say, like, do what they do at Service Ontario. Have them do all those little tests that they do with seniors to make sure that they can still drive. If you have your license revoked, you shouldn't be able to run for president.
Can you still drive the country?
Yeah.
That's the question we have to ask.
If you have survived not one, but 2 world wars, I think you gotta, like, step down.
If you're 8 decades deep, it's probably time to let somebody else run the country for
If you don't know what a TikTok is,
if you call it the Facebook, that's an immediate disqualifier.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Today is National Chili Dog Day.
Yay!
And we hope that you are able to.
Sucking on a chili dog. Sucking on a chili dog.
The only reason I get excited about this day is
just this song,
just to be able to play this.
Sucking on a chili dog. Sucking on a
If I'm being
chili
honest,
dog.
chili dog might be my least favorite version of a hot
Sucking
dog.
on a chili dog.
Hold up.
I'm saying, I'd rather have just a hot dog than a chili dog.
I think you know someone, then they say something like that.
Chili. Sucking on a chili dog.
Well, one of us will be sucking on a chili dog. I guess the other won't be.
I'll just make regular dinner today, but I'll listen to the song while I'm doing it. Does that count?
You know what? This is the second time I've had to do this to you today. Shame for having an opinion different from mine.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Ed's word of the day.
Let's see what he's got.
All right. Good morning. Today's word is flummoxed. Yeah, flummoxed. Flummoxed.
So I said plummox.
Flummoxed. And it means completely confused. And yeah, I can fall into that category.
That was you.
Quite often, especially after a big gagger. Anyways, that's about it. Have a great one. You're up.
Flummoxed?
So it's he's overpronouncing the ox part a little bit, but it's just flummoxed.
Oh, flummoxed. Oh, yeah, I've heard this word before.
Yeah. Like you're confused. Although, look me in the eye and tell me plummox wouldn't be a great name for like a Drano alternative.
Oh, yeah.
Like a bull running through your pipes.
Plummox sounds like a band, too.
I would go see Plummox on a Friday night.
Yeah. So flummoxed, basically just confused.
Just, you know, when you're having one of those days at work where everybody's just doing the dumbest possible thing they can.
Yeah.
And you're just standing there, you're flummoxed.
You know when you come home from work and your girlfriend's mad at you, but you can't figure it out yet? That would be it.
When she's mad at you because you did something in a dream. And you're just flummoxed. I don't know how to fix this.
Yeah.
I can't apologize for something I didn't do. I'm flummoxed.
That's flummoxed right there. Flummoxed. Use it wherever you can today, all right?
For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.
The Brock and Dalby podcast is brought to you by badshop.ca, the Brock and Dalby merch store. With all proceeds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.